Welcome to Independence Nation on the Light of Life Network. Today we're going to tackle the issue of, can Weiner's candidacy survive? Can Anthony Weiner's candidacy, his run for mayor of New York, can it survive? I think in order to take a look at Weiner's situation, we should first evaluate some government employees who have behaved badly, to say the least, and some whose political careers have been able to continue, and some who haven't. So let's begin with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was impeached by the House of Representatives for perjury and obstruction of justice for allegedly lying under oath about sexual relations with intern Monica Lewinsky. Clinton was acquitted by the Senate and remained in office for the rest of his term. Clinton subsequently was cited for contempt of court and agreed to a 5-year suspension of his Arkansas law license. On October 1st, 2001, Bill Clinton was barred from practicing law before the Supreme Court of the United States. So we all remember Bill Clinton saying, I did not have relations with that woman. We all know that he lied, yet he was not impeached. His political career was able to continue. So next, let's take a look at Newton Leroy Gingrich, or otherwise known as Newt Gingrich. In 1995, several newspapers began reporting that Newt Gingrich was dating and basically living with Callista Bisek, willowy blonde congressional aide 23 years his junior. Bisek, then 33, had been spending nights at Gingrich's apartment near the Capitol and had her own key, they reported. In an amazing act of hypocrisy, Gingrich was apparently dating Bisek all during the Clinton-Lewinsky adultery scandal, even as he proclaimed family values and bitterly criticized the president for his adultery. So Gingrich was criticizing Bill Clinton, all the while dating one of his aides, Bisek, who was 23 years his junior, while he himself was married. Continuing forward, this is not the first time Newt had cheated. Ann Manning has come forward and confirmed a relationship with him during the 1976 campaign. She quotes, "We had oral sex. He prefers that modus operandi because then he can say," quotes, "I never slept with her." So you can see here, Newt, big misogynist, and he was, as we know, his political career has continued, and he was not taken out of his seat for that. So next, let's take a look at Eliot Spitzer. On March 10th, 2008, the New York Times reported that Spitzer had previously patronized a high-priced prostitution service called Emperor's Club VIP and met for over 2 hours with a $1,000 an hour call girl going by the name of Ashley Alexandra Dupree. Now, we won't give her real name, her legal name, but yes, she went by Ashley Alexandra Dupree. This information originally came to the attention of authorities from a federal wiretap. Spitzer had at least 7 or 8 liaisons with women from the agency over 6 months and paid more than $15,000. According to published reports, investigators believe Spitzer paid up to $80,000 for prostitutes over a period of several years while he was Attorney General and later as governor. Spitzer first drew the attention of federal investigators when his bank reported suspicious money transfers, which initially led investigators to believe that Spitzer may have been hiding bribes. The investigation of the governor led to the discovery of the prostitution ring. Now, how did his political career go after that? Spitzer later resigned in his post amid threats of his impeachment by lawmakers. So his party lawmakers came together, was going to or put pressure on him to resign or he would be impeached, and he resigned. Okay, now let's take a look at David Vitter. In early July 2007, Vitter's phone number was included in a published list of phone records of Pamela Martin and Associates, a company owned by Deborah Jean Palfrey, also known as the DC Madam, convicted by the U.S. government for running a prostitution service. Hustler identified the phone number and contacted Vitter's office to ask his connection to Palfrey. The following day, Vitter issued a written statement in which he took responsibility for his actions and asked for forgiveness. Vitter did not face criminal charges due to the statute of limitations. There were renewed calls for Vitter's resignation during a sexting scandal involving U.S. Representative Anthony Weiner in June 2011. Now, Vitter didn't have anything to do with the Weiner scandal, but I guess it kicked up old dust, and there were calls for his resignation then. But Vitter was involved with the DC Madam and her service and this prostitution ring. But as it said, he did not face criminal charges due to the statute of limitations. Now, let's take a look at Mark Sanford. For 6 days in June 2009, South Carolina Governor Mark Sanford's whereabouts were unknown, and there was media coverage of what was described as his disappearance. Subsequently, the governor reappeared and reported that he had been in Buenos Aires, Argentina, with a woman with whom he was having an extramarital affair. He stated that in 2001 he met and became friends with this woman and that they started having a sexual relationship in 2008. His wife became aware of the relationship in January 2009, and it was later revealed that 2 weeks prior to June 24th, Sanford and his wife had begun a trial separation. Now, this was very convenient, and I cannot believe that Sanford's wife actually agreed to put out this propaganda piece saying that they were under a trial separation. I could only guess that it helped in her embarrassment in some way. So the woman was later identified as Maria Belén Chapur, an Argentine journalist. Now, during 6 days of absence, one of the excuses offered for Sanford's spokesperson was that Sanford was hiking the Appalachian Trail. Now, we're not going to say any more about that. It sounds dirty enough as it is. But moving on, he made his comeback here in 2013. Sanford ran in and won the special election to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Tim Scott from the U.S. House of Representatives. So you see Sanford made his comeback. He had his time away, and now he made his comeback. And what you'll see is this gave hope to Anthony Weiner down the line, who we will see will try to make his comeback. Before we get to Anthony Weiner, let's go on to Bob Filner, and then we'll delve into Anthony Weiner, the whole situation there. So Bob Filner is a San Diego, California mayor who has been battling allegations that he sexually harassed a former aide and at least 2 other women. Since then, three women have come forward to publicly accuse the 70-year-old former congressman of making unwanted sexual advances and lewd comments to them, starting with a former press secretary who brought a sexual harassment suit against him. Now, it was said that he asked one of his aides at his office to come in and work without undies. I can't explain to you. I can't imagine how traumatized she must be that someone that sick would be in the office and say something like this. And later, he put her in a headlock and was allegedly whispering lewd comments in her ear. So, Bob Filner, you definitely need some help. So, how's his political career going? Is he making a comeback? He's trying to do something that is unprecedented in political history. He's trying to have a comeback while in office, instead of the usual resignation, rehabilitation, and comeback. The San Diego mayor said he won't resign because of the sexual harassment allegations made against him, but he does plan to attend a rehabilitation center. So on one hand, he's saying, yes, I did do wrong, I shouldn't have done this. And on the other hand, he's saying, but I didn't, so I'm not going to resign and give up my position. So once again, Bob Filner, you definitely need some help. So let's go to Anthony Weiner. And for this, we have an article from Huffington Post. We're going to put that on screen share, put that up now. And you'll see it gives a timeline of Anthony Weiner and how the situation came about. This is May 27th. It shows that, and I must add, this is 2011. May 27th, Weiner used his Twitter account to send a waist-down pic of a man's underpants to a 21-year-old female college student. Now, that college student was from Seattle. He quickly deletes it and sends out a tweet saying his Facebook account had been hacked. So, on May 27th, Anthony Weiner marks his downfall. Sends out the tweet and then later says his account was hacked. On May 28th, it shows that BigGovernment.com, a website run by conservative commentator Andrew Breitbart, first reports that Weiner sent the lewd photo. Weiner was a Twitter follower of the female student. He's sending his pictures out to college students. I believe one of the reports said later that he had sent a photo out to a 17-year-old, and that's got to be pretty embarrassing. So it goes on to say on May 29th, a Weiner spokesman tells AP that the lewd photograph of a crotch sent from Weiner's Twitter account was just a distraction perpetrated by a hacker. I don't know about you, but if I was a hacker, that would be the first thing I'd do. Hack into Anthony Weiner's Twitter account, somehow come up with a picture of his crotch and send it to the first 21-year-old female I can find. Okay, so let's move on. So it says on May 31st, it shows that Weiner returns to Capitol Hill after the Memorial Day weekend and testily fends off reporters' questions about whether he sent the lewd photo. And I think it's definite that they knew that, okay, Anthony Weiner, we know you're sending the photos, and we know it's time for you to fess up. He said in a quote that day, I'm not going to talk about this anymore, Weiner told reporters. I think that if I was given a speech to 45,000 people and someone stood up and heckled in the back, I wouldn't spend 3 days talking to him. I'm going to get back to the conversation I care about. That's what scares me. The conversation that you care about, that we will later find out that you continued in. So let's go back to the screenshot. Let's see here. June 1st. Excuse me. Weiner does a round of TV interviews telling MSC if men's underpants was him or not. This is creepy. You don't want to say if it's you or not, but kind of alluding to it being you. So he says to MSC that he cannot say with certitude whether the photo of a man's underpants was him or not. He jokes a little about it. He makes a quote, "I'm not sure I want to put national and federal resources into trying to figure out who posted a picture on Weiner's website, whatever." He says, why he didn't board that, at least I'm not really sure it rises, no pun intended, to them. Well, Anthony Weiner, you're a goof. Intended. That should rise to that level. I can't believe that you would single-handedly do this to your own career. It's kind of hard to believe. So it goes on. Let's see here. On June 6th, the scandal escalates as Breitbart's BigGovernment.com website publishes photos purportedly from a second woman who said she received shirtless shots of the congressman. The site says the pictures were in a cache of intimate online photographs, chats, and email exchanges the woman claimed to have. So Breitbart busts this case out, shows that not only did the first woman, he now has other information or other photos and chats out there of him revealing himself. So that same day, responding, a tearful Weiner makes a profuse public apology at a Manhattan news conference. He admits sending a photo of his underwear-clad crotch to a young woman over Twitter, and then lying repeatedly to protect himself. So, whew, Anthony Weiner, I can't believe this. So, let's take a look at his political career. Let's see how all this came about. Weiner didn't want to step down after calls to do so on both sides of the aisle. So, subsequently, more lewd pics came out, followed by a former porn actress claiming to have engaged in an inappropriate online interaction with Weiner. She held a press conference to address the controversy. Needless to say, June 16th, news broke of Weiner's intention to resign. So you can see where he single-handedly destroyed his political career. But can he come back like the others have done? Let's take a look at that. So he has his resignation. Let's see if he follows the pattern: rehabilitation or hiatus, rehabilitation, whatever you want to call it. And then he makes his comeback. Now, I have to say that this has never happened before as well. On July 25th this year, not too long ago, Weiner admits to having explicit online relationships with at least 3 women since he left Congress, and the woman at the center of the latest scandal appeared on television, remembering him as, quote, perpetually horny middle-aged man. Wow. So the thing that's so surprising is on the time of his comeback, and if I didn't mention it, Anthony Weiner is running for mayor of New York, and on this comeback, he admits that he never really stopped doing these lewd photos and sending them to women over the internet. Never heard of before. Had his resignation, was supposed to at least show face of being rehabilitated, and then come back and try to make a strong, political stand. But instead, he comes back and says he never really quit. Wow. Wow, Anthony Weiner. You really are a clown. So, Cenk Uygur was right. You really are a clown. So, speaking of his bid for mayor of New York City, let's take a look at the polls. The polls have the front runner Christine Quinn at 25% and Anthony Weiner at 16%. Needless to say, he is tied with a couple other candidates. No, to add insult to injury, Anthony Weiner's campaign manager, Danny Kadem, quit on July the 28th. Good for you, Danny. I wouldn't be a part of that circus show either. Now, we want some feedback from our people. We have two questions here. First question, would it be different if Anthony Weiner was a Republican? We saw what happened with Mark Sanford as a Republican. He was accepted back in and is making a strong political stance. As you see him winning that seat. So would it be different if Anthony Weiner was Republican? You can email us at ination@lolmin.org. We also have a second question. Should his wife, Huma Abedin, stand beside him in his endeavor to perpetually embarrass himself online? No, seriously. Should his wife, Huma Abedin, stand beside him in his endeavor to become the mayor of New York City? So, once again, you can email us at ination@lolmin.org. Once again, that's the letter I, the word nation, at lolmin.org. So that's all I have for you today. This is Keith Pitts signing off for Independence Nation. I'll see you next time.